Hello, everyone. This is Statler,
And I'm Waldorf.
and we're here to talk about the Path of Druidism, or more appropriately known as
The Dudism path.
Druidism Path. That's what we're going to call it. The-
I would love to credit the guy who did that in the
Yes,
thing, but
that
I'm not
was-
looking
yes.
it up.
so this path is, and this is the new version 1.2 Magic Path.
Yep. And this guy is available to the Beast Herds, Highborn Elves, Kingdom of Equitaine, Saurian Ancients, and Sylvan Elves.
Yes. Most of the armies that I have. Okay, that brings us to this path has both an attribute and a
Trait.
trait. Thank you. The memory fades every so often. I'll start with the attribute. So the attribute is a Fountain of Youth. It is 12-inch. It's focus, so individual models. It's an augment. It's instant. And
Actually,
target.
go with start.
I'm
I guess start
just
with the-
thinking I should start with the trait
Start with the
because
trait
it
first,
affects the
yes.
whole thing.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah.
So I'm gonna jump down to the trait and come back to the attribute. So the trait is the Oaken Throne. It's a 4 up the cast, so you can one dice this with a master and have a very high probability of getting it off.
And not to interrupt, but the trait is the spell that is a bonus spell that everyone that takes
Correct.
this path automatically gets.
Yes, and as is the attribute. So you get 2 abilities on this particular path. So it remains in play. So once you get it up, it's always up until somebody stops it. It only affects the caster. If you cast it, then you get to use the augmented version of all of the 1 through 6 and the attribute spell, which is marked in the what are those called again?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
The squiggly line.
Yeah, something like that.
I think that's the official name of them.
Yes, and the key is as long as the throne is up. So this is basically they kind of kept the throne from the old path under version 1.1 and version but they've made it so you always are guaranteed to get it. It's much easier to cast, and it just basically helps you with the effects of almost all the spells in this path. Which brings us to the Fountain of Youth, which is the attribute. Target recovers. If you've got the throne up, it raises, very important, 1 wound. So cast off one of these and you can recover a wound, or you can bring a model back.
That's really big.
And no model can cover more than 1 or raise more than 1 wound per phase. But you can bring back real expensive knights, for example.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I can see where Kingdom of Equitaine would love this.
Yeah.
Among other people.
Anyone who's got expensive 1 wound models will be thrilled with
Yeah.
this.
Highborn Elves have this, so the Knights of Rima.
Yes, or if you have a monster-based list, keeping them alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, only 1 wound a turn, but it does help keep them alive.
Yes.
You're correct.
It's a
Okay.
fantastic attribute.
That's a fantastic attribute. The number 1 spell, this one doesn't have a 0 since it has the trait. So whatever you're rolling, you're using.
Yep.
Unless you get doubles.
Whatever you roll, you roll.
The Master of Earth. It's a 6 up casting, range of 18, hex, direct damage. Sorry, hex, direct, comma, damage.
Yes.
It's an instant. The range of the spell can be measured from the caster or from any impassable terrain feature on the table. The target suffers D6 strength 4 and hits, which raise to strength 5 if the Oaken Throne's in play.
And they're on a lot of impassable buildings are now impassable terrain. So
Are they classified as impassable?
if I remember correctly, yeah.
Because some can pass through them.
Yeah,
They're like quasi-impassable.
that's true. I guess that requires
So
a
that would require an
clarification.
FAQ, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll mark that one down and
Mm-hmm.
yell at them. Anyway. Okay. That's nice. D6 strength 4 hits is fine for an 18-inch range and from impassable.
Yes. Yeah.
Boosting it to 5 is really good casting on a 6.
5 makes it good casting on a 6.
It's the casting on a 6 is the big thing.
Yeah, D6 strength 4 to 6.
It's a chaff.
Yeah, but D6 strength 5 on a 6 is
Now that matters.
that's a big deal. Yeah. Brings us to Healing Waters, cast on an 8. It's got a range of 12. Lasts 1 turn. The range of the spell can be measured from the caster or for the water feature. Probably not too many of those, frankly, in a lot of games. And the target gains Generation 5,
Generation?
Yeah, Generation, like Generation X,
Okay.
Generation Y, Regeneration 5, and Regeneration 4 if it's got the throne up.
That's 5 up regen for an 8. That's really nice.
It's nice.
I'm a big fan of it. It used to be a lot cheaper.
Yeah, it's the 4-up regen on an 8.
Yeah, that's where it comes in really good.
That's where it comes in. Otherwise, you're thinking about it.
Yeah, that's nice. I like the spell. Entwining Roots, number 3. Cast on an 8 with a 12-inch range. It's a hex, lasts 1 turn. The range of the spell can be measured from the caster or from any forest terrain on the table. The target suffers -1. Oaken Throne makes that a D3 to its weapon skill and ballistic skill, both to a minimum of 1. I think we saw this before. Cast on an 8 to remove your weapon skill, but by 1.
Yeah,
Or at 6 if you had the other thing.
right.
Whatever that was, duality. Okay. An 8 is kind of tough on a -1. Is high for a -1 weapon
Yeah,
skill.
it's not.
It's a tweak. Can push over one of those edges. But the D3 can be quite significant.
Can be.
But again, on a third time, you're getting the same thing.
Yeah.
Third of the time, it's no
In a
bonus.
really short range.
I really don't. Anyway.
Also, like the ward save, you're probably close to your guys, but
Well, there's always woods on the table.
yes,
There's always at least one woods, usually several on the table.
yeah, what you're counting on.
But again, I've said this before when we did the last reviews on the last lores.
Paths.
Paths. Were they paths before?
Yeah.
No, they were lores before. I don't know. Anyway. Anyway, I don't like the D3 spells. Because a third of the time...
Yep.
This one is not a big deal because you're not paying for it. Oaken Throne's either up or it's not. But any spells that do D3, you're paying extra for something that a third of the time is going to do nothing
Right.
more.
Right. No, I agree.
Anyway, so that's Entwining Roots. I'm okay with it, just not thrilled with it.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's a little higher than it's too high for what it does.
Yeah, I think the casting value is a bit much for what it does. What it can potentially do, it's fine, but the problem is its potential.
Right.
The Spirit of the Woods is a number 4 spell, cast on a 9, range of 12 again, augment, or if it's a boosted version, universal, which is very important. All models in a target unit are considered to be within a forest. If the target unit is a friendly unit, it gains Strider Forest. Now, I think quite often as an augment, it's probably not such a big deal. I guess if you happen to have some skirmishers or guys that have Strider and you want to, it doesn't, I don't know, it gives you a -1,
be shot at?
to be shot at a 9, I think it's kind of terrible.
And it's not like anyone in contact with you's in a forest, so...
So now the universal version's a different story. Because now you can put it on your opponent and they're in a forest.
Correct.
So they lose their
They lose their steadfast.
or is it the plus ranks? I always get that confused with the current version.
Oh, you
think it's
lose
ranks.
your ranks in a forest.
Yeah, you use the ranks on the steadfast.
Ah, okay.
But it helps with combat resolution, so that's potentially worth a 9 if you're fighting somebody from the front.
Yeah, potentially. Or, you make them take the dangerous terrains early in the game, but it's only a 12-inch range.
Yeah,
So that's going to be tough.
right.
Yeah. Enough said. Number 5, Stoneskin. Cast on an 11. 12-inch range, augment, last 1 turn. The range of the spell can be measured from the caster or from any hill terrain on the table. Target gains +2 toughness, goes to +3 with the Oaken Throne.
Right.
11 is a really high cost,
11's 4 dice.
but +2 toughness is a really big deal.
It is. And 3 is even more of a big deal.
The 12-inch range is really bad,
Yes.
but
It's your
adding it from the hills
Yeah.
expands that quite a bit.
Yeah, but this was your mage is going to tend to be close to your own guys. I don't mind when an augment doesn't have a lot of range, because usually you can position your own guys and
Mm-hmm. Where you need them.
where you need them and keep them out of range. Is when a hex has a really short range, it becomes
Problematic.
much more problematic, because you may not want to expose yourself, before you.
Well, you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. 11's really high casting.
Yeah,
also.
but you're putting 4 dice behind it.
That's a 4-dice spell, and 4-dice spells are really scary now.
Yes, they are.
So, okay.
Make sure your mage leaves the unit if you're going to cast this.
If he's in a small unit.
Yeah,
or
in any unit, who cares?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right.
Brings us to the number 6 spell, Summer Growth. Another 11 to cast, range is 24, so this is the long range spell for the path. It's an augment instant. The spell has different effects depending on the height characteristic of the target models. And you remember in the rules they've changed, so now everything is either standard, large, or gigantic.
Okay.
So for standard,
Nothing small anymore.
nothing is small. Yeah. Standard, which is basically most infantry, and war beasts, is raise D3 plus 3 wounds.
Raise. Yep.
Raise. Not heal, raise. So
Mhm.
bring back models. And if you got the thrown up, D3 plus 5 wounds.
Okay.
For large targets, so monstrous infantry, monstrous cavalry, etc., you raise D3 wounds. With the thrown up, D3 plus 1 wounds. And then finally for gigantic, which is monsters and ridden monsters, you raise a single wound whether it's the thrones up or not.
Okay. If the oaken throne's in play, you add 1 to these. Right?
No.
No. So, I mean, because of the attribute is what I was thinking.
Oh, you get, yeah. Technically speaking, you would, yes.
Because the fountain of youth,
Right,
you may
right.
raise another.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, this is actually, I think much better than the old nature version.
Correct.
The bringing back, on average, 7 infantry models, especially with
Yeah, and the attribute
Which-
makes it 8.
with 8. You usually don't lose that many in a fight. I mean,
Correct.
it's
And
incredible.
round.
For cavalry, it's a real big deal, because if I remember correctly, they used to be capped at like 2.
Right.
So
Now the average is 3.
uh,
If the throne's up.
if the throne's up, the average is 3 plus the other one is 4. So,
Good point.
Yeah. and then
And
2
the average
for
is
monster.
3 if the throne's not up.
Yeah.
Wow, that is
So-
really good.
So it's really good. Now, 4 dice to cast it, though. So
You may be losing more guys than you bring.
yeah. So you gotta. I think you use this particular path. I think you have to think about how you deploy your mages.
Yeah, I agree. That's tough.
Yeah.
All right. So looking back, it's got a nice attribute.
Attributes fantastic.
The oaken throne on a 4 is really nice, but
It's okay. I've never been a fan of having to
don't-
burn magic dice to cast a spell that doesn't do anything but help me with other spells.
if you have a low-level caster, if you have 2 casters, then you have your low-level guy throw this on a 1 die at the opening of the magic phase. That way, if he gets it, he gets it. If he doesn't, he's lost concentration. Your other guy's fine.
Yeah, but I'd probably go the other way, because the master basically gets it on a 2 up. He's only going to fail on a 1.
Well, even a level 1 guy gets it on a 2 up, 3 up.
3 up.
A 1 or 2 fails for anybody.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, yeah, have your little guy try it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, fine, move on.
Yeah.
It's a die. So I kind of like this if you have double casters. If you don't, you can open with 2 dice, I guess, and force him to get rid of it.
Right. Or wait till. Exactly.
Because you don't want to wait, because it boosts every other spell you have.
Mm-hmm.
But moving on down, I mean, D6 string 4. While this is good, it's not really great. The healing waters I like a lot.
That's very nice.
The entwining roots I'm not thrilled with.
No.
Spirit of the woods I'm not thrilled with. Stoneskin, I like the effect, but I just don't like the casting on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a 4-dice spell, right?
Yeah.
That's a 4-dice spell. That's scary. And this one's Summer Growth. While the effect is awesome, it's another 4-dice spell.
Yes. I
Um,
mean, it should be, because of what it can do. But
wow. This is tough. The potential for what it can do makes me want to give it a thumbs up. Anyway, What do you think? Any thoughts on this?
I think the raising of wounds on the extremes are very. I mean, even at 11, you can plan around that. Are really good, and the other ones I think are mediocre. Except for the regen too. So there's nothing here I don't think that is bad. I think they're somewhat mediocre because of the casting values on some of the spells. You tend to need, for most of the spells, 3 or 4 dice, so it's got really high casting values.
Right.
So you're not going to get a lot of spells off. So I'm going to give it a weak thumbs up.
I think I'm going to give it a thumbs down because I
Okay.
think the only 2 spells in here that really affect the game as far as combat or whatever go is 5 and 6, and those are both 4 dice spells.
They're both 4 dice spells. The other ones are helpful. Well, I mean, 2
Spirit
is...
of the Woods has a potential
Yes.
if stuff's going right for you.
Well, I think putting somebody in the woods is a big deal. So
Putting your opponent, but you
Yes.
can't put your opponent in the woods unless the oaken throne's up.
correct.
If this was universal and then the augment gave you the strider, then that's different. I mean, if the oaken throne gave you strider, then this becomes a great spell.
Yes.
I gotta give this one a thumbs down. It's earned my first thumbs down
All right.
in the new paths. But just my thought. What do I know? Somebody will probably play me with this and just hammer me with it and pound it into me why it was so good.
I don't think they'll hammer you. They just hang around.
Yes.
I think it's
Well, I'm going to be really irritated the first time I play Equitane and I kill a bunch of knights and all of a sudden 5 of them pop back up.
yeah.
That's going to be annoying.
Yes.
Anyway, that's it. Thumbs down, thumbs up. Thanks for listening.
Till the next path.